Okay, all right. I think we got it good now. Everything seems to be connecting. So we got the one, we got the two. All right, so let's go back in here because we got to officially start the stage. And then that's when everybody will pretty much get a notification. So start the stage. Yep, start the event. There we go. All right. So what's going on, everybody? You are checking out an all-new Wrestling with the Topics for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. And we are live. It's as live in real time as it gets right now, as it's 17 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. See, I know what happened with some of you guys that tuned in last week. As soon as you guys had heard, oh shit, this is pre-recorded, even though it was new, like, nah, man, I want to hear the live shit. Live is where it is. So we hooking you up tonight with the good old live shit. All right. Of course, join along with me for these episodes, as always, is the beautiful and the lovely Tams. And I gotta open up this episode by saying my ass hurts.
As we can, well, most of you at this time can't see that, obviously, but yeah, that's been the chief complaint since I've heard Lee for the last few hours.
My ass is hurting, and not because of some one chip fucking challenge, not because of constipation issues, although I wish that was maybe what was going on. So I wake up today, and I don't know if I had slept the wrong way or what, but I can't remember the exact part. It's not my ass, but
basically it's your tailbone.
It's my tailbone that has been in excruciating pain. And when I looked this son of a bitch up to find out, okay, how did this come about? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling right now? What's going on with this pain, with this discomfort? And if I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, see, here's where it gets tricky. As long as I'm sitting, I'm okay. I can twist to my right. I can twist to my left. I can stretch forward. I can stretch backwards. That's not an issue. But the minute that I start to get up from out of a seating position, or if I'm laying down and I'm getting ready, it's not so bad when I'm laying down and I'm getting ready to maybe switch to my sides or whatever. But as soon as I get up from a seating position, that's when it kicks me in the fucking ass big time. And I don't know what the hell. The only thing I did that was out of the ordinary, but see, if that would have been it, then I should have been feeling it immediately the next day, which was I was doing some yard work. And I was doing yard work. What was that? Was it Saturday? No, it was Sunday. Sunday I did some yard work. And I wasn't even out there that long. I was probably out there for maybe about a half hour at most, because my mindset was I got a lot of leaves in my backyard. So I like to just wait until around this time of the year so that I can finally go on ahead, do the damn thing, clean it up and all that. And so that's what I did. And my mindset was, well, don't do all the work in one day. Stretch it out. You can pretty much do 2 bags of leaves a day. And next thing you know, give it about same time next week. You're going to be able to take all those bags, trash them. You'll be good to go. I was out there for not even 30 minutes. Felt fantastic. I go into Monday. I feel pretty good. I go into today, however, and I'm feeling like shit. So I have no clue what the hell's going on. Maybe I slept on something, and I don't know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but I hope I can figure this out soon. I mean, as long as it doesn't affect me at work, I'm all right. But for this to just happen all of a sudden, it does. I don't know if this is welcome to getting old.
Well, that's a possibility.
I mean, seriously, man. It's like to wake up and basically go, my ass hurts.
Or just a random ache and pain that you just find that wasn't there before.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, as we say, you know, give us some time, see what happens.
Yeah.
And then if you need to do something different, then that's what happens.
And that's what happens, exactly. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week so far. I mean, I know it's still relatively early. Hopefully your weekend was good. Oh, you know what? On a serious tip, we got the 4th of July that's literally right around the corner. So hopefully you have, at some point, doing the whole rounds of your grocery shopping. Hopefully by now you've taken it upon yourself to load up that freezer because, look, we already know about the inflation prices and all that, right? When it comes to food, gas, mortgage, bills, all that, okay? But let me tell you something. When it came to Memorial Day, if you guys recall, I told you all how I had a hard time finding bread going into the Memorial Day holiday because I was going to whip up some burgers, I was going to whip up some dogs, and I had told you guys about the Wahlbergs hot dogs, if y'all recall. And I never, in all my years of grocery shopping, I ain't never seen a situation like what I had saw with going into the Memorial Day holiday where no bread, hot dog buns, hamburger buns were in sight. I mean, you would have swore it was the end of the freaking world. Even regular bread was scarce on this particular day that I had went to the store and all that. So just taking all that into consideration, if you maybe had the same experience, don't be playing around. You want to go on ahead while it's still relatively early. Load up your fridge. That way when the holiday comes, you'll be good to go. And you ain't going to have to be scrounging around doing 3, 4, 5 trips to different stores. All that for some damn bread. But yeah, we're loaded up, as a matter of fact. We already got, let's see, because I actually looked in the freezer the other day. We've got Wahlberg hot dogs. We've got Impossible ground beef patties. There was something else I had saw. And I was going, oh, hey, all right, cool. So really, only thing we need at this point, potato salad, maybe, hamburger buns. I just told them about hamburger buns. We officially don't have hamburger buns, so get some hamburger buns. See, taking my own damn advice now.
I know, right?
It's still fucking early, right?
Well, I mean, we all know that if you don't have the hamburgers, the hot dog buns, we all have done that. Just wrap that son of a gun in a slice of bread, fold it up, you got your hot dog bun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for those special occasions.
Of course. Of course. So yeah, folks, get your shopping, done.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later. Obviously, supply and demand is still affecting us, so
yeah.
So just get that done as soon as humanly possible.
I know. So if you guys are new to the series, the way this series works, once in a blue moon, we'll dive into some pro wrestling topics. But for the most part, and shout out to those that are definitely familiar with this series, we basically bounce off of each other, tackling just see. Tams has no idea what I'm gonna bring up on the show because a lot of times it's just loose conversation. I'll maybe bring up something that kind of caught my eye and we just kind of bounce off of that. But for the most part, this is a non-wrestling related show. I mean, we put enough shows out there as it is for you guys if you're keeping tabs. Mondays, we're pretty much almost pure talk of wrestling. Tuesdays, almost pure talk of wrestling. Wednesdays, almost pure talk of wrestling. So with this particular show, and then heaven forbid, there's a pay-per-view, that's a show filled with wrestling as well. So when it comes to this particular series, it's mostly non-wrestling related topics. One topic of interest that caught my eye, and I did not even plan on bringing this up, but I know we have those that are from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and I do pay attention to the listenership, and that's been increasing more, the DMV listenership. So I do want to start by mentioning this. So I was watching the news the other night. Comedian Dave Chappelle was out here. He was actually at the school that I graduated from, Duke Ellington School of the Arts, Northwest DC. And the reason why he was there was because apparently the theater department was going to be named after him. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but the theater department was going to be named after him. Now, keep in mind, this was supposed to go down last year. But because of everything that came about with that Netflix special, his last Netflix special, a lot of controversy, and the Ellington students were pretty much giving it to him right between the eyes. And what first started off as him being defensive, a little bit verbally combative, just pretty much nonchalant, just disregarding what the Ellington students were saying, eventually turned into, whoa, this is, I mean, he was facing some serious backlash. And that's the last thing you want, especially when you are a donor. And Dave Chappelle has given Duke Ellington over the years, if I remember the math correctly, he has given them somewhere between $2 to $5 million. Okay? So he has been a substantial donor to them. Okay? So if everything had went accordingly and there was no controversy with that Netflix special, the theater department was going to be named in his honor back then. But because of everything that went down, it pretty much was put on hiatus until basically things cooled down. Boy, were we in for a twist though yesterday. So what, and see, this is where I'm most a little bit confused here, because I'm not dare calling Dave Chappelle a liar. I do believe that Dave Chappelle will tell you exactly how it went down. No filter. You know, he ain't gonna fucking hide behind he's gonna just right between the eyes tell you how it is. However, there is a conflicting report. Let me explain. So on the one hand, you have a key individual with Duke Ellington School of the Arts that's basically looked at everything that came about with the Chappelle controversy and said, yo, I don't want this theater department to be named after him. No, not after everything that went down. No, forget about it. That ain't happening. That's the one spin. But then there's another spin that's floating around right now where Dave Chappelle is saying, no, I'm appreciative. I'm truly humbled that you guys want to name your theater department after me, but I'm not going to accept this honor. I think that it would just be too distracting. No, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But when it's all said and done, the theater at Ellington is no longer named, or it was, but now it's been abandoned. It's not going to be called the Dave Chappelle Theater of Arts. Now it's pretty much going to be called, I'm trying to see if I have the new name for this, but while I'm looking up the new name, your thoughts when you hear that?
Well, I briefly heard about it just today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be honest with you, I didn't read the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of skimmed it. And
The
thought,
theater will instead be called the Theater of Artistic Freedom and Expression. And he said during the ceremony yesterday that he declined the honor because he did not want his name to distract from students' work.
honorable.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that. For someone's contributions towards education, schooling, or education, and especially if it drives in a way of where this particular person is, in that field, comedy, whatever you got. I'm okay with that. I mean, it's up to the person to whether they want to accept or decline that honor.
Can I be real with you for a second? Speaking as somebody that's a Duke Ellington alumni, and maybe fellow Washingtonians will agree with me from this standpoint. Why wasn't it named, the theater, of course, why wasn't the theater named after Debbie Allen? Because as long as I had went to Ellington from my freshman year, the stories I would hear about Debbie Allen. And Debbie Allen, I mean, frequently, all throughout my years when I was there at Ellington, she stayed popping up. For those of you that don't know anything about Debbie Allen is a famous actor. Y'all may like, oh, that name sounds familiar. Do you remember the LL Cool J show? I think it was called In the House.
Yes.
Okay. Remember the older woman that I think had basically loaned out part of her house to LL Cool J or whatever? That was Debbie Allen. There's like a much older lady that was involved in the first couple of seasons of that show. That was Debbie Allen. If you ever saw, I think, Amistad, I believe Debbie Allen was in that. Debbie Allen was in A Different World.
She also didn't she choreograph a lot of stuff from Different World?
Yes, not just that, but just choreographing in general for like some of the best well-known musicians, artists that's out there. Like there was a whole bunch of shit she did.
And last but not least for Debbie Allen, she's also Felicia Richard's sister.
Yes.
Which if some
the
of
younger
you,
sister,
younger sister, most of you know Felicia Richard from Cosby, if you know, in her role as the mother,
right?
But well, that makes a very valid point on why they haven't, unless she's made it be known that she doesn't want the honor in that way because she's just doing her part.
Or they never even considered her at all.
Or that.
I'm very curious. I'm very, very curious. And I don't say that to disrespect my man Dave Chappelle, but it's just kind of one of those, if anybody has really through and through, she has been consistent, a lot more consistent over the decades than Dave Chappelle has been. But that's just me personally. I'm not saying that as a diss to my boy. But it's just kind of one of those type of deals where I'm just going, kind of interesting. But so that was kind of like the latest. And then I was telling them about Juneteenth because we had the two concerts that went down over the weekend here in the nation's capital.
Yep.
You were doing your thing with your father because on top of Juneteenth, it was also Father's Day. So take your pick, right? What do you want to do? You want to do Juneteenth? You want to do Father's Day? Or you want to be like the little girl in the fucking El Paso taco commercial? Why not both, right? But I was glad that I ended up not going to the festivities in D.C. because there was a shooting that went down right in about the area where I kind of figured, because I got to be honest, I wanted to go down there so bad to basically return to Ben's Chili Bowl. Because even though I had the hot dog and all that at Awesome Cod, I was still fiending for actually going to the OG themselves and get my eat on and everything, right? And I'm like, oh, speaking of Cosby, Joey's asking a good question. Remember when Bill Cosby spent 40 years harboring foul language and then found out he raped a zillion human beings? Yeah, how about that? How about that?
Exactly.
And his picture is still hanging in Ben's Chili Bowl.
I don't doubt that.
Despite all the bullshit that's going down with him, his name is picture and all that. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it's still, but urban legend, because now it's an urban legend. Before it was fact, but I think now it's an urban legend. But for the longest time, there was a particular seat that was reserved for Bill Cosby. Anytime he was in the area, he would have that seat. I'm curious, and no, it's not a seat in hell. It should be, but I'm curious. But I'm curious if that seat is still
reserved.
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious.
I had heard that story too.
Yeah.
In reference to the reservation.
Yeah.
Whenever he wanted it.
But there was a shooting that went down around 14th and around U Street in Northwest Washington over the weekend. And see, if you watch the Tucker Carlsons and all that other fucking bullshit, you already know how they're going to spin that bullshit. See, this is why these silly holidays like Juneteenth shouldn't even be in existence. Because it gives minorities, particularly people of color, an excuse to go ahead, get high, get drunk, fuck random people, and act like hooligans while causing riots. I'm just picturing just that. That's exactly what the Tucker Carlsons and sure enough, as soon as I saw that shit in the news, I said, how long is it going to take before these and sure enough, not even a full 24 hours. I go on my social media feed. Already, you got the Newsmax motherfuckers and all them dweebs that are sitting there, and that's how they're fucking spinning it. And I just couldn't help but scoff at that and say, well, motherfucker, what about the other 365 days out of the year? What are we going to say for 4th of July? What are we going to say for MLK? What do we say for Memorial Day? What do we say for Veterans Day? What do we say for basically all the other fucking holidays, right? I need that same energy. I need that same fucking level of energy and enthusiasm when it comes to St. Patrick's Day. Right? Because it's kind of like, touche, pussycat, touche. Right? So what do we call St. Patrick's Day? Besides, Irish. It's like, motherfucker, you ain't got a lick of Irish in you. Hey, you celebrating St. Patrick's Day. It's like, come again? I mean, seriously. I'm offended as a black man to hear that shit, because anybody that would say, oh, Juneteenth is just, not just as a black man, but just as a person that, if I don't understand, see, I'm the type of person, if I don't know something about a particular time period in history, I like educating myself. Mm-hmm. So I know, okay, this is why this is a big deal, apparently. That way, you know what? Even if I don't give a fuck about it, at least I can say, okay, I understand. I looked up the history. Hey, it might not really be my cup of tea or whatever, but I know the history. I know why this is important to some people. So when you look up these people that are saying what they're saying about Juneteenth, you're going, obviously, you don't have friends of color. Because if you had friends of color, you would not be so insensitive to putting out...
Or dismissive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It really goes back to possibly not understanding really what it's about. Mm-hmm. And also, grant you, but it's not everybody though. That's a select few, a select group that is celebrating in a way that is not, the norm.
Joey's right, though. Joey's right. Joey's saying if your area is crime-ridden, it doesn't matter what goddamn day it is. They'll start showing a, how you pronounce that? Homogeneous? I think I said it right. Homogeneous. New word, folks. Besides, I don't have my glasses. Video in schools explaining Juneteenth.
Agreed. Well, I have a funny story for you.
Oh, okay.
So, the office I work for is a dental practice, and we actually just started hearing about the fact of the observance of a lot of companies who are saying, hey, we want to participate. Yes, we're going to give our employees off, so on and so forth. Well, again, I work for a private practice. Our owner is black. And not only did we not close, but it wasn't even mentioned in reference to the fact that we were going to even observe it. Now, to bring this back, doesn't have to be, but you have people who observe the holiday in a peaceful time, peaceful tone, and do it correctly. But to Joey's point, you get into a rhythm of crime-ridden, and you're right. It doesn't matter what damn day it is because they're going to do it anyway.
Right.
So, but the funny part of it is bringing it back full circle is, you know, all these other people and corporations are recognizing Juneteenth, and it's just another damn day to us.
Yeah.
we had patients that were calling and saying, "Hey, are you open?" "Oh yeah, absolutely. Come on in."
Wow, really?
Yep.
Compared to last year?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So it is catching on. People are becoming more and more aware. They may not know the history of it, but they know that
they get a damn day off.
They know that. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Times have changed because how many of y'all remember? Yeah, that's why I wasn't even going to talk about this, but since we're here, how many of you all remember back in the day whenever the MLK holiday was near, they would always show Martin Luther King movies. And the one that always stood out to me the most was the joint called King. And I think that was maybe a 2, 3, or 4-part series. It was like a TV series joint. I'm trying to remember the guy that played King. If I remember correctly, I think he might have been involved with Terminator 2 or something, or maybe the RoboCop TV show. I can see his face. I just can't picture the name. But he had played Martin Luther King. And I just remember how there was a time, if you were a kid growing up in the 80s, and I would say till about maybe 2004, 2005-ish, guaranteed like clockwork, you would see that MLK miniseries. Maybe it'd be on BET, TV One. What was the other black channel that they had?
No TV One back in the 90s.
No. I'm saying from I'm just going through some of the networks. I'm just going through some of the networks.
Doing a rundown.
Right.
Gotcha.
But basically the time period was if you were a kid in the 80s going into about maybe 2004, 2005-ish, my point, you would see it on TV, whether it was regular TV or cable TV, you would see it. And then we got to a point where they just stopped.
Yep. Or it would just get less and less.
Right.
Though the people and the networks that would normally show it didn't.
Right.
Now, that actually, the funny thing is that you mentioned that, just to expand upon it a little bit, that goes for a lot of things. You know, celebration of this person's date of death. Celebration of this person's birthday, they would do something. And they don't do that like they used to.
No.
You might have an observance picture or maybe one thing, but the rest of it is like programming as usual.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird because I'm going to say this and then we'll move on because I don't want to be too long-winded with this. But my whole thing is, if you're ignorant because you never did your research to find out, okay, why is this important to people? Why does this matter? Because right now it doesn't give a damn. I don't give a damn about this. It doesn't mean diddly shit to me. But if you have that curiosity of a mind and you don't, tell me about it. What okay, you're okay in my book. But when you're turning a blind eye and you're just, I could care less about this. Oh, it's stupid. Oh, then it's kind of like,
It's stupid for some people only to the fact that they don't understand. But in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been.
I said this on the show, and I want to ask everybody this question. Race relations in 2022. Do you all feel that it's gotten better? Do you feel it's the same? Or do you feel it's gotten worse? I touched upon it briefly on Monday's show. I wasn't trying to go too out of place because most people want to just hear the wrestling, and I know for this particular series we can go there. But I said on Monday that yeah, we've made improvements here and there, but we still have a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody wants to point the finger at Orange Orangutan and make him be the scapegoat for the level of bigotry and hatred that we have running around today. But we can't keep making him be the scapegoat. If anything, by him being in the position that he was in, it just, oh well, hell, he's doing it, I can fucking do it, thank God. It's kind of like like you're holding your gut in because you see that beautiful babe walking around, and then once she leaves the room, God, I never thought she'd leave, and the gut just explodes.
Right. It made it acceptable at that time. But then you have to have the self-accountability there to how you're going to proceed going forward. But again, you have to know where you have to know where you're coming from to know where you're going. And there's so many people that either don't care if it doesn't have anything to do with me, or social media.
Okay, now loop that back to the question that I just asked you and everybody in the chat, and shout out to you guys. Mr. Money said that I feel like it's gotten worse in the past 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. Morley's Chicken, I'm in the UK. It was better than it was before in the UK for me personally. Just stop ramming down people's throats. Mm-hmm. Maurice, I know we have Emancipation Day, which is a Canadian holiday, which falls in line with Juneteenth. Joey, I think, is responding to it as well. I think the approach needs to be recalibrated. So what say you? What say you as far as, has it gotten better? Is it the same? Has it gotten worse? Or hell, maybe the last option is a combination of all.
It really depends. I would say for me and what I've noticed, it has gotten a little bit better because let me actually kind of say this a different way.
Okay.
The people who have their strong opinions about race relations have become a little bit more silent about it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean it's got any better. Because, no offense, you have a third of people who are never going to change how they are. They were taught to be the way they are. They're not going to change no matter what you say. Mm. You have a third that is like, hey, everybody's created equal. I was raised that way. Mm-hmm. Then you have the other third that can be swayed because they grew up in their world of where there was a mesh. Hey, maybe it started out one way, but I notice and I see these things happening, so maybe it isn't that way. And then they start to change their views because of their own experiences.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Two instances in my life within later years, and I'll just share with you guys the most recent story, and then we'll move on to some, because we got some more interesting little tidbits we can get into while we're talking about race relations. And it still stings this very day. How many of you all remember the Bruce Lee movie, not Game of Death, but the other one? I think it was not Way of the Dragon. Not that one. The one I'm thinking about, the one that was after Big Boss, where he returns to his sensei school. There's like, I think there was like some need of him at his sensei school. There's like a rival. There was like a rival school that was trying to take the motherfucker over or some shit like that. But there was a scene in that movie where Bruce Lee's character was trying to go to a park. And this guy was standing there and he goes, "Hey, read the sign." And Bruce Lee reads the sign above, and it basically says, no Chinese people allowed. And yet there was some couple that had went past, and he's like, "Hey, they look just like I do. How come I can't go?" No. You can't go in there. You want to go in? Get down on your knees like a dog and bark like a dog, and you can go in that way. That's how I felt when we were trying to go into that Apple store. So anybody that don't remember this story, so true story, in this really nice neighborhood out here in DC. This is like up around the downtown area of Bethesda. Anybody that knows about the Bethesda area in Montgomery County, you know there's a lot of nice, rich areas, a lot of white people running around, high class people that's running around. Mm-hmm. So we go to this Apple store for the whole purpose of trying to get, then at that time, my iPad repaired. Mm-hmm. And I won't give you the long drawn out, but the main bullet point, this was during a period where I don't think vaccines were made just yet. If they were, it was a very slow
It was a very
rollout.
Slow trickle process at that point.
Yeah.
Because actually this...
Stay right there.
Okay.
Because we don't want to go too deep. But my point, we were wearing our mask.
Yes. Mask mandate was in full effect.
Mask mandate was in full effect. So we were getting ready to go into this fucking joint. And the Apple employee had stopped me. And she said to me, "You need to fucking..." Well, she didn't say fucking, but she basically said to me, "You can't wear that particular mask in here. You need to wear one of these." And I just thought that was so fucking weird because it's, well, wait a minute here. My face is freaking covered all the way up past my nose. And what I was wearing was a solid black bandana. And the only way you would know it was a solid black bandana was if you were looking behind the back of my head to see what was going on back there. And I just couldn't help but go, whoa, what the fuck?
Wait a minute. I thought you were wearing the skull and crossbones.
Hey, if that's what I was wearing, I'll take it. I just know for sure I was wearing a bandana. That's all. That's all I know. Okay. Now I say that story because we had a white couple more than once. We saw a white couple or white people that were going into the same establishment, and there would be dogs in their hands, dogs on no leash, just going in there. I'm like, damn. The dogs are getting more respect than, like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And I just remember, and that was just poor customer service for starters. There was a lot more that had went down with the customer service that we had received at that particular store. But let me tell you, it was so bad, we ended up just saying, fuck these guys, let's just go elsewhere. And we actually went down to the Pentagon City Mall in Virginia, where the customer service was just 10 times better. You know, it was awesome. It was awesome. But until a person of color or a minority or whatever can go into an establishment like that and not be scrutinized to that level, where basically the only thing that was missing was these motherfuckers saying, "Hey, yo, you look like a thug. You need to ditch that." I mean, that was the only thing that really.
Missing.
That was the only thing missing was her saying, "You look like a thug. You look like you're gonna rob this place. You need to take that off."
Somehow the theme in my mind, in reference to you saying what you said, comes to be the theme from not the theme, but a particular scene in Boomerang. And
What's the scene you're thinking?
the store that they went in to try on the suit jackets.
Oh, yeah. Fist of Fury. That was the movie I was thinking about. Fist of Fury. Shout out to Soul via YouTube who's tuning in. He said the actor I was thinking about that had played Martin Luther King from earlier, Paul Winfield.
Yes,
Paul Winfield, the late, great Paul Winfield. He was
Great
fucking
actor.
badass. Yes, great actor. Speaking of race relations, I want to pick your brain and everybody else's brain on this. By the way, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Whether you're tuning in via Twitter, the Facebook, you're joining us in the Discord. I am seeing what you guys are saying. I'm doing my best to just work with me, but I love you guys. I appreciate you guys that's tuning in. Speaking of race relations, did you hear, and everybody else, did y'all see this shit with James Patterson?
No.
Oh, this is going to surprise you. So, Tams, I got Tams for her.
Christmas.
Was it for Christmas or for your birthday?
Oh no, for my birthday. Sorry.
So for Tam's birthday, I did a follow-up to something I got her for Christmas because she's a big Dolly Parton fan. She's been to Dollywood, and you know, if there's one place she wants to just keep going back to,
Yes.
she wants to go to Dollywood. She loves Dollywood,
I
right?
like that area.
And not to mention, look, Dolly Parton, can we all admit, Dolly Parton is just all around a good, I don't want to say motherfucker because I want to be respectful, but she's a good ass person. I mean, anybody that is privileged enough to work for her at Dolly World and all that, if they're a student, she picks up 100% of their tab for their school tuition. Mm-hmm. I'm just going, whoa, what the, like, I mean, that is some Warren Buffett level type of shit, right? Mm-hmm. That's just badass. But for Christmas, I got her this big, thick, those of you that are Dolly Parton country fans, you probably know the book I'm talking about. It's like this big, thick book you could just put on a fucking coffee table. And you could just go through page after page after page after page. And it's basically stories, if I'm not mistaken, about how she came up with certain songs and all that, right? And it's thick. It's like a Bible-ass thick book, okay?
Yeah, you could use that to press a whole bunch of stuff.
Man, that'd be great for a burglar, I tell you what.
Yep.
That, I mean, goddamn, let my TV go. You know?
That's funny.
Shit. That shit is just, it's like that. Mm-hmm. But I followed up on that gift and I had got her this great book that has been receiving a lot of rave reviews from James Patterson and Dolly Parton.
Because it's a compilation.
Right? And so there's like, okay, if you like the book, then you want to pick up the album that's pretty much inspired by the book. And I believe the book is titled Run, Rose, Run. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And it's also getting ready to go to the big screen.
Right. That's how good this is, right? Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, wow. And if you're a fan, at some point you read a James Patterson book or you know somebody that read a James Patterson book, you're like, hey, he's pretty damn good. So I get this book and everything. You know, Tams hasn't read it yet, right? She just got to get a free moment. But yeah, I know she's going to read it. And she's going to tell me all about it. So last week or the week before, James Patterson makes the news in the most disturbing, hilarious fucking way that's humanly possible by basically saying, you know who's really got it rough in this country? White men. Now, some people may look at that, and if you're thinking from a writing standpoint, you're going, well, dude, if you're writing a thesis, if this is your thesis statement, god damn, that's pretty powerful. Is this a persuasive speech you're giving? Because I need you to kind of follow that up with some facts. What's going on? But, right, so you already got the hook, line, and sinker. But then as you go deeper into it, Patterson is basically laminated because, as far as he's concerned, white men are struggling to find writing jobs in film, theater, TV, and publishing industries as is just another form of racism.
Wow.
Right? So wait, so you're doing a double take and you're going, wow, white men experiencing racism in theater, TV, film. Interesting. We really sure about that now? Are we really sure about that? So
Well, I will tell you one of my other favorite authors, Nicholas Sparks, is having no trouble. Who's having, his books published, coming out with movies. So
this is the same James Patterson that had went on record saying, oh, what they did with Woody Allen and how they scrutinized him and didn't try to pass his memoir. That was just unfortunate.
I'm sorry, I have no love lost for Woody Allen.
And it's like, James, you do know why people are still salty over Woody Allen, right? Like, you do know, right? I mean, a little thing, his step daughter, foster daughter, messing with her at a young age, and like, dude, you're a researcher, you're a fucking writer, you do research, you do citations, and how do you not know this? How do you not know this? How do you come off that uneducated? Seriously, dude. Okay? So you hear this stupid ass line that came about, James Patterson here, and there is definitive proof. Shout out to the good people over there at USA Today. They had a great article. It's by Barbara Van Denberg. I would highly recommend you guys check it out. She takes a great look at the book sales, right? So it's like, okay, James Patterson, he's bringing up this argument. So does he actually bring up a good point here? Like, what's going on? So USA Today, she did some backtracking. USA Today's best-selling books list archive is what she accessed to see whether there's been a noticeable shift from white authors in recent years. Okay? So, keeping that in mind, a breakdown of USA Today's top 50 best-selling books from 2016 had revealed 45 of them, or 90%, of the best-selling books that were out there. Anybody want to take a guess at the race of the authors?
Oh, what?
Yeah, ding, 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 ding. Those had included The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. She was joined by Indian-American author Paul. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. But yeah. So the list is dominated with familiar white faces, including J.K. Rowling. I know she's been involved in some controversy. Right? Harry Potter, all that shit. Bill O'Reilly, John Gresham. I'm not talking about Jonathan Gresham. This is John Gresham. David Balducci, Nicholas Sparks, who you just named. Oh, and get this, James fucking Patterson. Right, Joe? He's like, isn't this dude bad? Right.
Don't you see James Patterson coming out with a new book, and it's pretty much on all your, hey, James Patterson's coming out with a new book. It's on social media, it's on TV, it's on...
James Patterson farts. I mean, he comes up with a new book. James Patterson belches. He just puts out a new... It seems like James Patterson puts out a new book every 2 months.
At least every 6 months, it seems like they're
How many of you
something.
guys read the book? How many of you guys read the book, Is Bill Cosby Right? By Michael Eric Dyson? There is a particular section in that book where Bill Cosby, and it matches up to the speeches, you black people, and it's like, Bill, you're wanting to talk, man. You're scrutinizing the hell out of your own people, but like, what exactly are you doing to... besides donating some money, like what exactly are you...
And calling people out on it.
Right, and with James Patterson, it's okay, well, what are you doing? If this is how you feel, then what are you doing with your wealth, your fortune, your name brand? What are you doing to maybe change this stigma that you feel exists currently? Well, not a goddamn thing. You're just collecting the checks.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, are you fucking serious? So yeah, it looks like the book diversity data outside of the USA Today bestsellers list also doesn't support Patterson's claim. Take the New York Times, for instance. They compiled their own respected data to determine how white the publishing industry is, and their sample, 89% of the books that were written in 2018 were by white authors. 2019 survey found that 85% of the people who acquire and edit books are white. Majority publisher Penguin Random House, they conducted a 2019 to 2021 diversity self-audit. So it don't get no more recent than this, folks. And they found that over 74% of its contributors in that period were white, and there were only 6% black, while 5% were Hispanic or Latin. Publishers' employees also screwed heavily white, making over 74% of the workforce. Now, granted, he apologized for these comments, but I'm deeply disturbed because I thought very highly of James Patterson, right? I love a good wordsmith, right? I love a good wordsmith. I love a good thinker. I love a good writer, because you get yourself a good writer, oh man, you just go, this person can do no wrong. They have crossed all the X's and O's. They got
reference to their literature.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe because I've always been enamored with a guy like Stephen King. Like Stephen King for me can do no wrong. What you read in the books and what you get of Stephen King in life, it's one and the same. So some of the stuff I've read from James Patterson in the past, I'm thinking very highly, and I'm just going, dude, how are you gonna just retrospect everybody like that with this unfounded, like, you're a fucking novelist. The first thing a motherfucker that's got common fucking sense, even if they're not a beat writer, the first thing a motherfucker is gonna do is, okay, I think I call bullshit on what you're putting out there. Let me research this real quick. Okay, I was able to find this. Where is your supporting data to...
Well, he's also a fiction writer.
Oh, okay, so we're doing that whole beyond belief factor fiction, huh? I'm just picturing Jonathan Fracas just, we got you. That was a lie.
Right. Fake news.
Hey, we told you that white people are struggling to find a job in the Hollywood industry. That was a lie. Oh, God. They live in the moment, not really doing any research before making these statements. That's what Best in the World said. Yeah, the universe is your salad. You pick the dressing. That better be some damn good dressing, yo. If I'm a buy into that fucking dressing, that better be some damn good dressing. Seriously, that for me was just, I was spellbounded right down to the point. I was so sickened in my stomach. I said two things to myself. One, I said, oh, Dolly ain't liking this, right? Dolly don't like being, because the first thing is going to, didn't Dolly? Oh, so I guess Dolly fucking shares these same sentiments as well, huh? So guilty by association.
Right.
And that's unfair to her. And then the second thing that went into my head is, well, motherfucker, if that's how you personally are going to feel about this, and now you're trying to backtrack so you can make sure that your cash flow doesn't get interrupted significantly, I'll just stop buying your books. I mean, you'll be okay. Like, not that my money counted, but since you obviously feel this way, I would be more inclined to pay attention to the people that are buying my shit, paying attention to the demographics across the board, and making sure I'm not, before I get ready to say some shit that can come back to bite my ass, let me make sure I crossed off all my X's and O's. Well, hey, look, according to Pew Research and according to, NIH or whoever the fuck I need to say, don't come at me. I'm just telling you, and I got the data that support, right? At least do that, right? Then look, to my point, There's a reason why. It's not a race thing, but I mean, really stop and think about this. There's a reason why now more than ever in your respective neighborhoods, you are seeing independent mom and pop stores. We saw it when we were down at the harbor. We were at the harbor a couple of weeks back for our anniversary weekend. And we ate at Cadillac Ranch. Shout out to Mission Julian, because I already told them. I said, next time you guys come up, it's like, you want some good barbecue? Like, Cadillac Ranch. Anybody find yourself in the D.C. area, you want to go down to the harbor, go to Cadillac Ranch. Best fucking barbecue. You know how Shaquille O'Neal be going, barbecue chicken, earn it. Barbecue chicken, earn it. Barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken. Barbecue ribs. That shit is bomb, okay? That shit is bomb. But, you know, we were over there, and I was just noticing how many, oh, wow, this is cool. There's a mom and pop black bookstore. And I've been seeing more and more mom and pop black stores, black bookstores, and I'm going, wow, this is fucking cool. Like, you know, yeah, I'm down with that. Now in this day and age, you got more and more independent publishing companies. I learned this while I was taking my television radio course. I think it was early. Was it early? No, late last year. Which is Amazon back in the day were doing the shady, fucked up practices where if you were an independent book author and you were trying to, you know, make it, you know, make or break on Amazon would give you like this nice little deal. Okay, well, you can go on ahead, you can open up a store, you can sell your books on our site, you know, this is our cut and this is what you'll get. And you go, okay, all right, bet. But then if you did too well as far as sales for your book, Amazon would come back and they would be like, hey, buddy boy, hey, you know, we gotta tear up that old deal. And, you know, we gotta, and if you did not go with the flow, they would blacklist your ass on Amazon. They would stop you from being able to sell your shit. And this was a bad, fucked up practice. It was so bad, it got out of hand during one particular year that a bunch of authors had got together. And they were like, yo, we need to take this to Congress. And at that time, guess who the sitting president was? It'll shock you.
Obama?
It was Obama. Mm-hmm. They were trying to, you know, this was on Obama's watch. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Obama and everybody else, listen here. I love Amazon. Amazon's the shit. Amazon can do no wrong. Right? So I'm working on the Obama impression. But, you know, basically it was denied. It didn't go any further. But there were a bunch of book authors that were like, you know, what the fuck? Okay? Mm-hmm. So, you know, linking that back to, you know, overall.
Yeah. That is really fucked up.
Okay?
Though.
Okay, so if you're going to speak about an injustice and you're somebody like a James Patterson, won't you talk about those injustices that were happening for authors that were trying to, and Amazon's going, you know, no, we got to, yeah, but that's a peanut deal. We got to give you this new deal. It's like, that's not, no.
No. Here's what the problem is. Hey, you know, we really thought you was some small fry, but you know what? You're doing pretty damn good for yourself. Guess what? We want some.
So now instead of it being, you know, whatever, 50-50, now it's, we'll take 80, you take 20. But I did all the legwork. But you're using our platform to become successful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you take it or leave it, pal. Mm-hmm. It's bullshit. It's fucking It's fucking bullshit. So yeah, James Patterson, you can miss me with that. I'm not. The one time I buy a fucking book from James Patterson, actually no, the second time that I buy a book from James Patterson, the second time that I buy a book, that'll be my fucking last. I tell you what, that'll be my fucking last. He could team up with fucking Corpse of Gandhi for all I care. I'm not gonna fucking buy. I'm serious. I'm fucking serious. And have the nerve to complain about that's fucked up how they did Woody Allen. Oh, you could definitely, you can.
So are you? I mean, you must be friends with him to say something like that.
Something. It's or something. It's something. I don't know what, but it's something. So, we were here last week and we were talking about the Flash star Erza Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And in a new update, we're kind of somewhat still in the same stalemate. But I mean, you don't really need to be a beat writer, or you can just put common sense together. This dude's probably not going to last that much longer with Warner Brothers. Because remember, we were talking about, look, the longer Warner Brothers remains silent, it's not really good. And shout out to Krauser. I'm trying to think who else it was. It actually might have been Eddie. There's like a couple other people that I remember in the days since that last show. It was like, what's going on here? Why is Warner Brothers not? And they were like, well, not for nothing, Lee, but they spent a pretty damn good penny on that movie. They spent about over $200 million. There's no way at this point they're going to go back, recast, shoot new scenes. Like, they've already spent the extra amount of money that they needed to spend, an excessive amount of money that they needed to spend. It is what it is. So now we're hearing little rumblings that supposedly, and Variety has jumped out there, said a little something, the usual reputable suspects. They're basically saying that, according to their sources, Warner Brother execs are going, look, regardless if there's no further controversies involving Miller, we are done with him. Our focus right now is putting out that Flash movie next year. June next year is when it's going to be released. Focus on putting that release out there, and then at that point, we're going to announce a replacement. Mm-hmm. I'm conflicted. I don't know how I feel about that, because hypothetically speaking, what if it's revealed that one of these supposed victims, hey, I had a hidden camera going on in my room, and it features Erza Miller having sex with me, and at that time I was only 14. So my question to you all, does Warner Brothers go, man, that's fucked up, but we got this $200 movie that we got to put out?
A little bit more than that.
$200
million.
I'm sorry, $200 million. Yeah. Like, so do they, that's fucked up. Do they still? I just can't help but wonder, are you guys really sure you want to still be on this course to put this movie out? I mean, of course, dates can change and all that, but
they seem hell-bent on recapping what they spent.
They really do. And I just can't help but wonder, when do you just go, no, you know what? We really need to cut our losses. We really need to remove the stench of this shit from us. Because
that's a large loss.
That's a large loss, but gee, I mean, you don't think they can easily recoup this with a couple of exclusive Warner Brothers fucking flicks? I mean, for God's sake, they're already getting people's money with the HBO Max app.
True.
I mean, $14.99 a pop, and then if it's a situation where, same day release, yeah, you want to check out this movie, just give us an extra, whatever, to get, so when is enough?
True. Well, really, the question is, when is what the person did going to outweigh the fact that they need to make the money? Because you're looking at something that is, what do you want to call it? It is more of a, hey, we look up to, or hey, this is someone that kids will, gravitate towards because it is somewhat of a superhero and all that. Versus, yeah, that's one fucked up individual who essentially is doing some real life fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And do we really want to continue to put out the product because that fucked up individual who's doing fucked up shit is now on a major screen acting like nothing ever happened? And where is the what is it?
Accountability?
Yeah. Where's the accountability for his actions in reference to, yeah, okay, he's getting replaced, but shit, he done made that money already.
What do you think about the idea from Goof that they might be waiting until a conviction or an acquittal?
That's a good point.
Would that for you, like if maybe something like that would go down, or let's say a conviction, would that make you think, okay, maybe they just might do something with this movie? Maybe they might eat the 200?
You mean, oh, okay, yes, if he were to be convicted. Well, the way they're talking about it now doesn't seem like they plan on waiting for any of that.
Because it brings about a very interesting question. When's the last time you can recall a major celebrity that was involved in controversy like this or worse, and Hollywood still went on ahead and put out whatever major film they were hoping to profit off of?
In recent memory, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I mean, just on the spot, there's nothing that really... I mean, it's not the same, but I just think about the reckless career at one point that Robert Downey Jr. had.
Ooh, yeah.
But that's really nothing compared. It's a different beast compared to Erza Miller's situation.
True, but you also have a little bit of some same scenarios, because there was a point back in late 80s, early 90s, where studios did not want to work with him at all.
Yeah, because of his drug problem.
Because of his drug problem.
Drug and alcohol problem.
And it was like his name was taboo, and that was that. It's the same but different.
Or is it more about, to Joey's point, is it more about, well, what's the person being accused of? And then the court of public opinion, is it more about...
Well, part of it at this point is court of public opinion.
Or
no, but I'm saying
you're right. Yeah.
Right now, it is really court of public opinion, because he has not been tried for any of this yet in actual court, at least not that I know of.
No, not yet. The family, last I checked, the family of the one victim out there, what was it, in Massachusetts, I think it was, they were granted a temporary restraining order against him and all that. It's interesting. I'm surprised that a guy like Chris Hansen,
oh Lord,
has not gotten on top of this. And here's why I bring this up. So if you've been in the Discord the past couple of days, just off and on, or you're following me on social media, I've gone down this weird rabbit hole on YouTube once again. What'll start off with just like a perfect example. I looked up this one video that was suggested to me from Vice, and they were talking about this guy who has been eating nothing but macaroni and cheese for the past 20 years. And there is a particular mac and cheese that he will eat. He will eat Velveeta Shell's mac and cheese. He don't care for, right? It's got to be that. He don't care for the Kraft elbows. He has a particular bowl that he likes to use. There is, right? So you realize.
Can anybody say as good as it gets?
Right? So I'm looking at this guy though, and I'm kind of going back to the Norm Macdonald special, which is, hey, I like people that have Down syndrome because they're always fucking happy, I like bananas. God damn it. I like bananas too. Bananas are yellow. God damn it. You know what? You're right. Bananas are yellow. How about that? Right? I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, okay, so mac and cheese for 20 fucking years. You're cool in my book.
No, listen. In the Sanders household, mac and cheese is like, up there on our top dishes, right? And I love Velveeta shells and cheese as much as the next person. But most of you can probably agree with me. That shit has gone down.
Oh my God! What as far as quality?
Yes.
Yeah, anytime you find yourself adding a bunch of shredded cheddar cheese and a whole bunch of other to dock it up, yeah, obviously the recipe
I'm
has changed
sorry.
quite a bit.
Lee has just pulled up an actual photo of this Erza Miller. That is one creepy looking dude.
Yeah, he look, power to people that are exploring their sexual preference, identity. I'm all fine for that, man.
There's nothing
You
wrong
know,
with that.
there's nothing wrong with that.
But
But what I still can't get behind, maybe it's just I'm still a relatively young man, but I'm an old head at the same time. This whole shit about, the pronouns. He,
oh,
him,
oh boy.
she, her, they, their, it, like I'm just, do we have to do that? Do we really have to go? I'm used to just being in a scenario where, excuse me, ma'am, I turn around. No, good man, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I wanted to know, like, I can't wrap my head around these. Sometimes it just comes off like, okay, are you really just trying to let us know how to properly identify you, or are you being a dick? Just marinate on that. But, what's this about legal accusations facing? What's this? Let me skim this real quick here. Yeah, last Wednesday, Greenfield District Court granted an unnamed Western Massachusetts mother a temporary order of protection on behalf of her 12-year-old child against Miller. Child's mothers became concerned about Miller's relationship with her daughter. This is a report according to the Daily Beast. It goes on to say that at first Miller seemed friendly. However, the mother, that is, she soon grew suspicious of Miller's relationship with her child, describing Miller's conduct as both menacing and inappropriate at times. Apparently back in February, Miller, who lives around 40 miles away on a ranch in Stamford, Vermont, visited a neighbor. Oh my God, I gotta pause right there. I don't mean to crack a joke, but it's just, he goes by the screen name Big Cock for You. And he says to her, well, some of the chat log we can't show you here right now. But he drove 40 miles to come meet this 12-year-old girl. Disguised as a 12-year-old is our own perverted justice's own. And it's just, hey, come on in. Did you bring the milk? I got some cookies on the table. Help yourself. You find the place okay? I was talking about Chris Hansen earlier and Erza Miller. So I'm a little bit surprised that Chris Hansen hasn't jumped on top of this shit yet. Stay with me, people. This all connects. This is how the show goes, but it all connects. So I was going down this rabbit hole. Vice, the guy, mac and cheese. I'm going, okay, like, I'm a little OCD myself. Dude, you're cool in my book. I would fuck with you every fucking day. Mac and cheese, I'm there, my man. Right? Give me a call. Because, like, he's no different than the old guy that's been eating a McDonald's cheeseburger every fucking day, 7 days a week for, like, the past 60 years now or something like that, right? So that's all he eats. Like, you're cool in my book. So somehow I go down this rabbit hole of Chris Hansen. And I knew Chris Hansen was involved in some shady shit. I don't know if anybody else knew this. I guess I'm just now coming to the party. But my God, the shit that Chris Hansen is involved in now, you're going, dude, what happened to you? You used to be a respected journalist. Now you're just a whore for whatever will make you a quick buck. I mean, he has hooked up with some shady, the same companies that he was investigating, wire transfer fraud and all this other shit. He's now in bed with these motherfuckers. All for a quick buck. Okay? I'll share a link with you guys when Tam starts talking, but just one of the videos, this one guy did like a 3-part series. I think his name is Joe something. Literally not something, but I think the first part of his name is Joe. He did like this brilliant 3-part series on the guy, right? And at one point, we see that Chris Hansen one of multiple attempts to try to reboot his career. Everybody remembers when he tried to do the Kickstarter shit. Okay? Oh, I'm trying to work on new episodes of To Catch a Predator. Da, 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 da. I need your help. La la da da da. And everybody was left out in the cold going, okay, we gave you our money. Where's our episodes? Most importantly, where's our perks? Right? Right? It's just a whole like multi-layered. But
Well,
there
he
was
lost
this.
his credibility when he had that affair and all the other
He
crap.
could have rebounded from
He could have.
within reason.
Within reason, he could have.
You know.
Unfortunately, he didn't.
So my point, Chris Hansen, one of these many failed attempts, there was some social media influencer that he was trying to take down. I can't think of the kid's name. You guys that have followed it, you know the guy I'm talking about. But Chris Hansen like literally got on a plane, went to this dude's house, was knocking on dude's door, and you're going, wow, that's some fucking balls that Chris Hansen has here. And what was so fucked up about this is like some months later, this dude agrees to do an interview with Chris Hansen, but it had to be designed in a way where Chris wasn't monetizing his videos to make a profit off of this interview. And Chris was basically, oh, no. And then it brings to a question and like, well, dude, the man said he's willing to sit down and do this interview with you, and yet now you're playing hard to get. That doesn't... And Hansen had faced backlash. But to my point, right, I got to take you on this journey so y'all are able to connect the dots. Why hasn't Chris Hansen jumped on this with Erza Miller? Because, you know, he's waiting for his next big, you know, it's just kind of one of those, if you're really about journalistic integrity or you want to, you know, look at me or, hey, let's put the spotlight on this sick son of a bitch. There you go right there.
All valid points.
$200 million is a lot of money to eat. That's a lot of money to eat. But me personally, I don't know, y'all. Seriously, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you do with this. Oh, I see somebody is mentioning Fozzy there. True story. I just found out about Fozzy's new album. I think it's called Boombox. I haven't reviewed it yet, but I did check out the latest musical video. Is it me, or does Chris Jericho in these music videos, it's just coming off more and more like AEW Jericho as opposed to Fozzy Jericho? Now, see, to a more keener eye, somebody, I wouldn't blame them if they said, it's really the same to me, Lee. But no, it feels very different now. Put it to you this way, because we were fortunate enough to see Jericho on the Jericho Cruise a couple of times with Fozzy, and I saw him when he was doing his routine with his, what was the name of that other band that he fronts? Quarantine. And, you know, those were some really good... Jericho, the front man, showed up. But now just the latest batch of stuff I've been seeing with him, it's just AEW Jericho. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. You guys can let me know or just peep that out next time. But nah, I like the new single that's running around right now that Fozzy has going on there. Very weird. Very fucking weird. And then the other joint, just go to the fucking bathroom. It's like, how long is this journey? Are we there yet? I have to go to the bathroom. It's just broadcast. Just go to the fucking bathroom, dude. Seriously, go to the fucking bathroom. Handle your business. So, I wanted to get into this with you, because I wanted to pick your brain on this, because I know you're a big Tom Cruise fan. So, our girl from... You know what I'm talking about. King of Queens.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lisa Remy?
Yes. Say the name again.
Lisa Remy?
She's a beautiful woman.
She is.
She's a very beautiful woman. I've had the biggest crush on her for a good number of years now. Well, while we were enjoying Top Gun Maverick, she pretty much has been on a one-woman crusade to remind people about Tom Cruise basically is evil as fuck, and people should not invest in his movies or anything that he's doing because this whole Scientology shit that he's attached to. And I'll tell you exactly what she had said, and I quote, "Tom Cruise knows exactly what goes on in Scientology." She said this on Twitter. "Don't let the movie star charm fool you." Remember, she left Scientology
I remember.
2013. And she went on to say, "I will not watch the movie, nor will I ever support or approve of this scam of a man. Trust me, Tom Cruise knows exactly who he is supporting and the abuses that organization perpetrates. I worked with him while I was there." She was with Scientology there for 35 years prior to rolling out in 2013. She said in an interview a couple of years after she left Scientology altogether that Cruise was one of the factors that led to her leaving because the actor is so tethered to the church. They view an attack on him as an attack on all of them. Actress claimed that Scientologists are told that Cruise is saving the world single-handedly, so he is considered a deity within Scientology.
Must be something like a god.
Correct. Correct. Second to David Miscavige, who is the church leader, has been the church's leader since 1986. She went on to say that apparently Cruise and this guy are the best of friends, and that Cruise has been privy to the punishments that David doles out. You're a lifelong Tom Cruise fan. You know, it's interesting because of the day and age that we're in now, because for younger listeners, younger fans, this was kind of one of those growing up, you knew Cruise was involved in something kind of overzealous as far as religion, but it was one of those, you know, whatever. Like, as long as he's entertaining me on the big screen, that's all that really matters. But see, we didn't have social media in play like it is now. Right. We didn't have it in play back then. But now everything and everyone is under the microscope and everything. So your thoughts when you hear that? Because I know you're a big Tom Cruise fan.
So as I was growing up, I was a big Tom Cruise fan. Even to my early 20s, maybe even more, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I knew of his ties to Scientology, you know, and then at that point you really didn't know about what that was because it was mainly behind closed doors, wasn't really talked about. Not like it is now, basically, in what Lee just said. Now, once I started to really know about Scientology and then the goings on, and I think it really came to light when he was with Nicole Kidman, married to Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman said, "I can't do this." And I think for me, that's when I stopped really having interest in what he was doing. Now, going back into Top Gun, you know, more recent movies, I don't condone what he does in reference to the actions with Scientology. First of all, because I think it's fucked up. No offense. I think the fact that you don't see a child that you essentially had a hand in making because it doesn't fit your lifestyle and your narrative with the church is wrong. Because you still are that child's father. But of course, you know, you don't see it that way. Basically, giving it a nice little pretty bow, I don't condone it. I enjoy him as an actor. But for a long time, it did bother me. And I stopped watching his movies because of it.
So, to be devil's advocate then, hearing that, right? Because I have to do a little bit of cross-examining here, because I'm sure some people that are hearing you say that are probably going to be quick to say, well, then why see Top Gun Maverick?
Nostalgia.
Okay, expand. Go ahead.
Nostalgia, really. I heard, nostalgia, plus I heard quite a bit about it. And why I enjoyed, how much I enjoyed it was, again, nostalgia. But there was so many other variables and factors to it. And it truly brought me back to the days of simpler times for myself and just a good movie experience.
Not to mention, capitalizing on what you just said, for a brief moment, you went back to being that kid. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I had to think about it as far as, when was the last time I saw a Tom Cruise movie in theaters before I even had to go, this Scientology shit, dude, I don't know what's going on, but you can miss me with that because it's kind of creeping me out.
Yeah.
Collateral.
I think it was definitely before that.
Well, for me, I kind of felt it was really starting to kind of.
Yes, I agree.
Like shortly after, between the movie Collateral and when Batman Begins first came out, because remember, Tom was with Katie then. To the point, Katie was in Batman Begins, but he was so very micromanaging of her career and all. He really did not want her to do Batman Begins, to the point. I mean, he was really, but for me, definitely the last movie I had saw just starring Tom Cruise was Collateral. And
You're talking about in theaters.
In theaters, correct. Because shortly after that, I really started hearing a lot more about the whole Scientology shit, and it was like, let me kind of, But I fell into that same hat of tricks that you did, as far as the Top Gun, And look, it is a great film. If you honestly don't give a damn about the Scientology and you just want to be entertained. I mean, well, there you go. You want to relive your childhood from the 80s or your favorite era.
Or not only that, just get lost in the new actors within that film.
Right.
So, the other thing, now grant you, not condoning it, Scientology is creepy. I don't understand it. I've heard way too many fucked up things about it. But the other part of that is, okay, you go to see it, you support it. And it actually, the funny thing is, it reminded me why I liked Tom Cruise so much in the beginning in the first place.
Yes.
And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I really, truly, besides the other newer actors that held their own for sure, did as well. But you find that because I think I remember hearing one interview where he said, this is the two things I want to do. I wanted to be a pilot and I wanted to make movies. So it's kind of like, okay, but he's now their spokesperson. If they lost Tom Cruise, where would their validity be? They wouldn't really have it. Because there are so many people who have left Scientology within the last 10 years that were really big supporters of it. And if they were to, which I don't think they ever will, because I think he's a ride or die at this point, where would that validity of that association be? It's almost like they've gotten him into... Forgive me, this is my opinion, not just my opinion. But it's a cult. Is what it is, and they sucked him in. And then he, just chose out of his own free will to stay and go through the processes with them. But he just happens to be one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Who had did I understand the statistics for that right? Apparently, in regards to Top Gun Maverick, it gave him some record for his career. Like I guess it was
it's his highest grossing film.
Yeah, like ever. And you had to do a double take when you heard that. You're going, wait. We've seen him in plenty of hit films. And you're like, wait, say what? And apparently when you went back and checked out the record books prior to Maverick, his previous record was War of the Worlds. I think that was at 61 million. I'm going off the top of my head here, so I apologize if my math is off. And then before that one, you got me. I'm stumped on that one. But I want to say if I were to take a crack at what might have been the one prior to that one.
Probably as one of the Mission Impossibles.
Yes. If not the very last one, maybe just one of those Mission Impossibles was his highest gross. So, but this Maverick movie crushed all of those.
All of that. It's over 800 million now.
Yeah, that's just yeah. So, but I feel I feel exactly how you feel in all that. It's a very delicate situation. I mean, there is stuff that's out there. I mean, we'd be here all night, and I'm not gonna. But if you want a good read on just why people are ruffled by Tom Cruise, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's out there. One that really kind of made me raise an eyebrow. He went on this themed cruise. And apparently this cruise had some type of affiliation with slaves. Like the ship in question, its history, had involved slaves being on this particular ship back in the day. And he was doing a whole bunch of dancing and shit while non-stop videos of him and his movies were being played. Also, they made teenagers, like, I'll say under 18, that were supposedly working on this ship, made these people work 48 hours straight. You heard me right. 48 hours straight. So there's a lot of interesting little nuggets of that just kind of make you go, if I had to choose between Chris Farley and Tom Cruise, I'm going with Chris Farley. Fuck that. Seriously, I'll go with the cocaine problem than the
whatever that is.
Whatever the fuck that is, right? Interesting news. Live PD.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Everybody remembers Live PD, right? My God, back in the day, we'd be fucking hooling, hollering, and laughing up a storm over Live PD. Sometimes we would just be hanging out in the Discord, and we'd be just sharing different screenshot images of people that are getting arrested and shit, or Twitter or whatever. So Live PD is apparently coming back after a 2-year hiatus, but with a twist. With a twist. Can you take a crack at what that twist is?
They got rid of Dan Abrams.
No, that son of a bitch is still associated with it. Try one more time.
They use the victim's perspective?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm telling you, I did not have sex with that woman. She had sex with me. No, Live PD is coming back under a new name called Patrol Live. Sticks, he's coming back. Dan is coming back. No Tom Morris Jr.
Interesting.
I found that to be very, I guess he was getting a little bit too popular there, huh? Right? we gotta reel that back a little bit, right? But and apparently it's going to be on a new network, Reels. You're familiar with Reels?
Yep.
That's pretty much got the celebrity mortician. You know what I'm talking about. The final hours of that dude. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that on Reels?
I think so.
I know Last Hours of, where they do like a little biopic, but I think that Celebrity Coroner, I think he's on there as well. But yeah, it's going to be coming back this summer. I'm not sure how many of you guys were aware of that, but this summer they're going to be coming back. I'm not going to be watching it. I refuse to watch it because look, we know why that show was pulled initially. Some people might have felt a little bit what's the big deal? But when you look at what's going on with race relations, the Black Lives Matter movement, which has had so many hands dipped into it, which started off as for a good, worthy cause. Now it's all about profit and trying to maximize profit and everything. So the message, it's gotten lost in translation over its popularity these past several years. But I will tell you why. It's simple for me, why I refuse to watch anything that is associated with Dan Abrams. And if you don't know, you're about to know. Check out Roland Martin. Just type in Roland Martin, Dan Abrams. That's all you need to know right there. And just the way that Dan Abrams had did my man Roland on Dan Abrams' show. Taking a tweet of Roland's out of context, and I really do mean out of context. And Roland's just, he's going with the punches. He knows he didn't say that, so he is just, you can just watch him move. You just see his eyes, and he's just, okay, I see what time this is. And just the way when he got back to his home turf, went about obliterating Dan Abrams. That for me, this is a guy I highly have respected. I remember his work from Court TV and, all that other shit. But, it's obvious that there is a certain narrative that Dan Abrams is trying to cater towards. And I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that. Look, besides, there's only but so many times you can see the same stupid shit that goes down. Remember how but see, here's the thing. I think what many of us had liked was the live element to it. That's what made it so interesting. Even though it probably had maybe a 60-second delay, we love that whole live element effect to it because anything can and will happen. But for me, I'm just I'm good, man. You can miss me with that. If it was under a different host, I would be interested. Anybody but him, I would be interested. But and we know that when it comes to, don't even fucking go there as far as defunding the police and all that other shit. You want to start going to those particular topics, those are pretty much fighting words for him. If you even come off like you're remotely not for the police, this guy is just so. That's just me. That's just me. But to each its own. Other than that, let me see here. Rest in peace to Tim Sal, beloved Batman artist. The entire comic book industry. I was stunned when I heard about his passing. My man passed away a couple of days ago at the age of 66. I don't think we know right now what the official cause of death was, but Jim Lee, who's DC Comics chief creative officer, he had put the news out there that Tim was admitted to the hospital with severe health issues, and
66 is really young.
It definitely is. A Will Eisner Comic Industry Award winner, known for is illustrating of, if you want to talk Batman The Long Halloween or Batman Dark Victory, Superman for All Seasons, Spider-Man Blue, Captain America Red, and Captain America White, and Daredevil Yellow. You take your pick. He's got some memorable fucking books that's out there, memorable pieces of work that's out there. Definitely an extraordinary artist, one of my absolute favorites when I was growing up as a kid and everything. So pretty unfortunate. Speaking of comics, I'm I just picked up a 500 plus page Silver Surfer, I think it's called Parable, that finally has been shipped off to me. I have been looking for that joint since March of this year. And when I was chatting it up with the people at the comic book store, they were telling me, nah, that's been pushed back. Like, what's going on? Why do you keep getting pushed back? And not really sure, but it was pushed back. So what started off should have been able to get it in March. They said, no, it's coming in April. Got pushed back again. Nah, it's coming in May. Okay, cool. See it when I see it. Surprisingly not, it got pushed back again. And I gotta be honest, I was ready for another pushback, but then I finally get a notification, hey, it's on its way. Like, oh, well, that's lovely. All right, cool. But yeah, 500 plus pages. That's gonna be one thick son of a bitch. I'm looking forward to reading that bad boy. I heard a little bit about it, about the story, and it would seem like a really good live adaptation of a Silver Surfer film. Fun trivia for you. You probably don't know this. Most people probably don't even know this. But if you all remember the one fantastic movie that had came out where Chris Evans was Johnny Storm, I believe that was the one where they did the Rise of the Silver Surfer. I could be wrong because I know Fantastic Four has gotten a couple of breathe and stop goes. But does anybody remember who did the voice for Silver Surfer? Let's bring that question up before we roll out of here. Does anybody remember who did the voice of Silver Surfer without looking it up? And while I buy you all a little bit of time, you want to go ahead and open your present?
I can do it later.
You could do it later? Okay, cool. Do it later. I see people are typing. I see a little bit of typing that's going on. Let's see what you guys are going to say. And then I'm going to see what people, if anything, are saying via YouTube. Nobody's taking a crack at it. I see a couple of... Okay, don't remember. All right, here's fun trivia for you guys. The person that did the voice for Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer was none other than Lawrence Fishburne. So when you just close your eyes and you go... And I was saying it earlier today to Miss Julian, and I actually had tagged Hurricane Shane Helms because I know he's pretty big into the comic books. I say, yo, if they ever do make a live action Silver Surfer, like they need to use this as maybe source material. But I said at the very end, Lawrence Fishburne is still my Silver Surfer.
Interesting.
Silver Surfer is just basically, in the way that they did Silver Surfer in that movie, it was CGI. He was straight up CGI. They just had Fishburne's voice apply. You can easily get away with that. You can easily get away with that. And then if anything, if maybe you want to have Fishburne, like if something weird were to happen where maybe you're trying to tell an origin story on how he became, if you maybe want to go that route, and he was an older guy, but because he made this pact with Galactus, obviously his molecular structure and all that had changed and blah blah blah, yakety smackety boom, Silver Surfer. If you want to maybe spin it like that, you could definitely spin it like that. So yes, and I agree, DJU, I agree, Lawrence Fishburne can't pull off the Silver Surfer without the CGI. Yes, and he would have to get into shape. If they were to go with Fishburne again and they want to do an origin story, he's packing, I mean, we all are packing a little bit of weight, but he's come a long way from Boys in the Hood. He's come a long way from that build. Yeah, he would have to lose about, that's a big boy, man. Maybe 40?
40 to 60.
40? DJ's thinking 50.
That's what I'm saying. 40 to 60.
Yeah. But then even at that,
and tone.
Yeah, he would have to tone up big time. Well,
tone. I mean, yeah.
Well, see, Silver Surfer, when he was just Norman Rad, he was just a regular guy. They were wearing like these futuristic, baggy kind of looking clothes or whatever, but he was a skinny dude. So yeah, I agree with the whole 40 to 60 pounds he would have to lose, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting, something to think about. But I just thought I'd share that with you guys because I thought that was kind of fun, nice fun trivia for you guys because not many people were aware who did the voice. And the only reason why I remember he did the voice is because I'm a nerd. So as always, I sit through the movie credits, right? So I'm sitting through the movie credits and I'm going, yeah, who did do the voice of Silver Surfer? And I'm sitting through it and I'm going, holy shit. It's fucking Lawrence Fishburne. Like, okay, hey, that's badass. So, anything else you want to get into before we get ready to call it?
No.
We went exactly 1 hour and about 50. Matter of fact, let me look at the counter here. We went about 1 hour. Oh, wow. That is fantastic. I thought we went 2 hours. No, I've got us down for 1 hour, 45 minutes. That is fan-fucking-tastic. I love it. You guys that represented tuning in live tonight, give yourselves a pat on the back. And sincerely, I appreciate you guys that's been, making Tams feel good. I mean, we now got like a week in the books doing the shows here on the Discord. And it's nice to see more and more people are slowly but surely coming around and tuning in, checking out the shows. Means a lot. Appreciate you guys. As far as programming notes go, one more show is going to be dropping Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk AEW Dynamite Fallout. We'll talk some Slammiversary. We'll talk some more, little interesting wrestling, little headlines. Maybe we can squeeze in there a couple of non-wrestling related headlines as well. If you're looking for the audio version of Monday's show, I'm actually going to be mixing it down right now. It's actually already been saved. I just got to upload it to the server. So in about a half hour, you'll see it trickle down to your favorite outlets. Yeah. But you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe all throughout. We got the YouTube, we got the Twitter, all that good stuff. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. What's that? Shout out to Joey. Saw Joey was hanging out for most of the show. Shout out to him. Love you, bud. Shout out. Who else was in there? That was shout out to DJu. Goof was in there as well. I saw him a couple of points there. Who else? How long you give it before Sasha gets an OnlyFans? Shit. Sasha looks like the type of person that probably is not even going to want to do OnlyFans. If Sasha Banks could have it her way, that shit would be retitled Only Sasha. I mean, for real, she can't stand them fucking fans. Shout out to Mr. Money. Shout out to Eddie. Who else there? Shout out to Mr. Money once again. He said he saw Top Gun. He said it was amazing, by the way. So shout out to him. Who else am I missing in there? Well, I'll tell you what. Let me see who else I might be missing in there. Give me 1 second so I can show love to everybody. And then definitely show love to those that's going to be checking it out on demand and on the downloads here. If I can pull this up real quick, because it'll tell me. Shout out to Soul. Who am I missing? Everybody knows who they are. Shout out to Wrestling Soup. I'll make sure. I definitely got to say. Shout out to Mish. Shout out to Wrestling Soup. Don't forget to check them out. They got a new episode dropping this Thursday. Should be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Check them out. Shout out to Kev Castle. Guys, Castle Chronicles. Chicky Podcast there. Shout out Trez. Shout out to them. Shout out to Julian Cannon. Wrestling Court. Am I forgetting anybody else? Everybody knows who they are. That's been representing, honestly, right? Seriously. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, close it on that note. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll definitely catch you guys next go round. Peace.